In this episode, I will demonstrate how to manipulate a raster image by applying a perspective effect with the help of ImageMagick and then using that in my vector project. I'll be using Inkscape version 0.46. You will need to download and install ImageMagick for your operating system if you don't already have it in order to use the terminal command that I will demonstrate shortly. If you're using a Debian-based distro, such as Ubuntu, then it's as simple as a sudo apt-get install ImageMagick in a terminal. Binaries are also available for Windows and Mac users. You may visit www.imagemagick.org for a closer look at this small but powerful package. So let's begin the tutorial. Okay, what I've done ahead of time is taken 3 screenshots of my desktop for use in a montage that I will put together in Inkscape. I'll show you what they look like now. The first screenshot that I put together, and I'm just dragging and dropping these off to the side from my desktop. Here's my first screenshot. Okay, so basically what I've done was change a wallpaper and open up a couple applications. Okay, so that's my first screenshot. My second screenshot looks like this. Here I just changed the wallpaper again, opened up a couple applications. Okay, we'll get rid of that one. And here's my third screenshot. Okay, this is just kind of a run-of-the-mill Hardy Heron background with my garbage on the side. Okay, what I want to do is use ImageMagick to take these raster images and convert it to a perspective image. Okay, now it's important to note that what I'm doing here is almost an exact duplicate of Richard's episode number 35. Okay, so if you were to go back and watch that, you'll see that my screencast here is almost identical. But what Richard explains is that you can use GIMP or Photoshop to make a perspective effect, and you can, and it works very well. You can also use Digicam, which I like too. But what's difficult, which, you know, and this could just be my lack of experience with GIMP, but I find that when I make a perspective effect in GIMP, I can't do it precisely, or I don't know how to do it precisely. By using ImageMagick, I know that every time I apply it to a particular raster image, I'm going to get the same effect every single time. It's not going to be just a little different than the next one. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay. Now what's really cool about this in doing this in Inkscape and ImageMagick is that Inkscape is a vector editor. Okay. I wouldn't say it's used that often for raster images, but you know, I can't speak for everybody out there. I use it often for raster images because it's got a lot of potential and a lot of flexibility. And what's nice about this is typically, you know, I would think to myself that I needed to convert this to vector and use the perspective effect to do what I want, but I don't have to, and that's where ImageMagick comes in. So let's take a look at it. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is take these flat images and convert it to perspective. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this. And we're going to open up the ImageMagick website, and I've navigated to the Usage Distorts Perspective page. And about halfway down the page, they show you a command line script that you can use that will pretty much take a flat image like we see here and convert it to this perspective shape. Well, that's exactly what we want, and that's exactly what Richard has described in his episode 35 by using the GIMP. Okay, so what I've done here ahead of time is I've taken this and I've cleaned it up a little bit in my text editor, and I've put my file names here. This is the input file and this is my output file. Okay, and basically all that I've done is changed 4 unit characters here. Okay, I've changed this 0, I've changed the 2, this 90, and this 91. And just by altering these 4 units, I can get just about anything I want in my perspective effect. Okay, I'm using this particular perspective because I want all of them to look alike, but you know, for your montage, you can do just about anything you want, okay? Let me take a sip here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take this and copy it. And again, I'm not going to explain to you what these things mean. You can go to the website and you can have a read of this whole thing to get a full understanding, because the website explains a lot better than I can do it for you. So please have a read of that. Okay, anyways, back to this. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And I'm going to open up a terminal. And all of my images are just setting off to the right here on my desktop. So you'll need to CD to your desktop. And I'm going to paste this in. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and depending on how fast your computer is, depends on how fast it converts the image. On my computer here, it converts the image in, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds. So it's already on my desktop now, and the terminal is just a little slow in coming back. So let's take a look at what we've just created. Okay, here is our original wallpaper, and here is our brand new wallpaper converted to a perspective with Image Magic. Okay, now basically what I have here is I have a document that's 1440 wide by 900 high. That's the size of my monitor resolution. Okay, what Image Magic does is it keeps the envelope size of your original and it basically skews it inward. Okay, and when it skews it inward, what it does with the space that's left is turns it transparent. And it's not white, it is transparent. So when you put it on top of something, you'll see that it blends in quite nicely. Okay? Alright, so that's how you do it with Image Magic. So what I've done ahead of time is I've already converted my other two pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and bring those in and carry on with the rest of this screencast here. Zoom out. And at this point, I'm going to pretty much duplicate what Richard has done with the raster image in episode 35 by creating a reflection. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead on this first one. I'm going to right click and duplicate. And I'm going to mirror that. Okay, we're going to zoom in on this just a little bit. And we're going to skew the image. And I'm holding my control key down. And we'll put that about right there. And we'll fix that just a little bit. Okay. Let me zoom in here. I'll get that just a little closer. Okay. Now for this one, skew this just a little bit down here. Okay, that probably is pretty good. Okay, and I'm going to do that for each one of these. Okay, so I'm going to hit this one next. We'll duplicate it, and we'll flip that. We'll drive her down. Okay, and we'll push this up. And I'm just going to eye this. Okay, it looks pretty good. And we'll slide that up a little bit. Looks like I need to go just a smidgen more. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. And we're going to do that again on this image, right click, duplicate, and flip. And we'll bring that up here. Okay, and we'll chew that up just a little bit. Okay, so let's back out. Those are our 3 images there, and Richard pretty much tells us that what we need to do next is draw a square. Yeah, you want to make sure your square is not already transparent. So I'll draw something off to the side here. Remove the stroke. And we need to add a fill. Okay, so let's try this again. And it has to cover your entire image. So, whoops, got a guide turned on there. We'll find out how big our image is here, and we'll put that right over it. Okay, has to go up just a little bit more. Okay, so the black is pretty much covering our reflection image here, and that's what we want. And we need to give this thing a gradient. So I'll start from the top, holding the control key down, and we'll move it down about right here, I guess. And I'm going to highlight this last stop and do black there. We'll highlight the top stop and we'll do white there. Okay. Now I'm going to edit this to make this pure white and pure black. I could have done that easier if I were off the Tango palette here, but okay. White and full black. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, before I do this, I'm going to push this behind everything. Whoops. Push this behind everything. And I'm going to draw just a guide in here. So I know where I am. Well, let me back out here. Sorry about that. Let's try this again. Okay. There we go. This will kind of help me keep an eye on where I need to shift my gradient. Okay, so I'm going to take this black shape here, put it back to the front. Okay, now I can take this image here, send this to the front, and we'll modify our gradient. Okay, now when I do my gradient, see, I can kind of follow this line. Okay, and let's take a look at that now. Move this line out of the way. We'll select both images here. We'll do a mask, and that looks pretty good. Okay, I'm going to get it just a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and unset the mask. We'll adjust our gradient, and I'm going to pull this up just a little higher. About right there. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. And before I do this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of this marker that I've made. Move this stuff over so I've got room to work here. Okay, and I'm going to take this shape, we're going to duplicate this, and I'll duplicate this one again. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to move this, whoops, take this and delete it, take that and delete it, take this and move it down. I take this and group it, and we'll take this one and group it. I'll show you where I'm going with this here. And we'll take this and group it. Okay, we'll select all three images, we'll go to our Align tool, and we'll center these up here. Okay, that'll help us later. Select all three of these and we'll ungroup them. Take a second. Okay, now when I put this thing back on here, see where we are. Need to go over just a little bit more. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. Now what I'm going to do is duplicate this 2 times. Slide this one over, and we'll slide this one over. Okay, now we're going to select these 2 images here, 2 objects, and we're going to do a mask set. Okay, that's going to give us our reflection. I'm going to go ahead and do it for this over here. We'll do a set, and we'll do it a 3rd time for this over here. We'll do a set. Okay. Now we'll take these and group them together. And we're getting close to being done here, so not too much longer. Okay. Now again, I followed Richard's steps in episode 35. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take this and we're going to move this down about right in here. We're going to take this one, move it down about right there. Okay, and I'm going to draw a background. I'm going to make this full black, and we'll send it behind everything. Okay, and we're going to give this some padding at the bottom. Make that white. Okay, and we're going to blur this and change its transparency a little bit. Give this about let's do about a 12% blur. And for transparency, let's slide this down to about a 30. Let's go even more. Okay, we'll lower that to the very bottom. We'll bring it up a step. Well, maybe not. Look like it's going to come up here. Okay, lower that to the bottom. We'll lower this to the bottom. There we go. See if I can grab it here. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with this here. Just kind of want to create a little bit of a lighter surface. Okay, and basically what I have here, if you've ever seen on the internet where web designers have put together some screenshots or software boxes, just about anything where they're lining stuff up to create a little montage with a little reflection underneath. That's pretty much what I've got. So this could be used, let's say for example you're a wallpaper designer and you've got several wallpapers you want to put on your site, you can create some type of a banner montage like this. So that's pretty much the screencast. So hopefully what I've taught you is you can use tools like Image Magic, which is very powerful. I don't use it enough as I should. I still rely on GIMP to do most of my raster editing. But again, using Image Magic, I'm going to get the same perspective every single time. It's just a little command script, and it works very nicely along with Inkscape. And what's great about Inkscape is that it's very flexible. You can work with those raster images, and you can put that together with some vector, and you'll get a nice end result. So I hope you learned something from this screencast. Thank you for watching. I'm Heathen X.